Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, is there some breaking news potentially in the works? Ian Rapoport reported that he thinks that there might be. Also, I'm going to get into today's training camp practice overall, what the biggest things are that Raiders fans need to know. I'm going to tell you what the good notes are from practice today, and then I'm going to give you what I think that the bad notes are from practice today. So the way that we're going to kick today's show off is yesterday, NFL Insider Ian Rapoport put out that the Raiders are working on an extension with Jakobi Meyers. Obviously, this caught my attention, and obviously, it's going to catch the attention of a lot of people out there. I have been somebody that's been sitting up here saying that I want the Raiders to go ahead and make this deal happen, and sometimes a domino effect does need to happen. The Raiders, they went out, they extended Kolton Miller 3 years, $66 million, $42.5 million guaranteed, and in that report that Ian Rapoport put out, he put out a video. In that video, he says, the Las Vegas Raiders are currently working on an extension with Jakobi Meyers. Now, obviously, number 16's got $0 million guaranteed left on his contract, only 1 year left on his deal. I will say this, though, and I don't want to sit up here and act like I got more sources than Ian Rapoport. Obviously, that's not the case, but I do know the Las Vegas Raiders better than anybody else on this planet, and I'll stand 10 toes on that. I'm just saying this, though. I don't know how tapped in Ian Rapoport is right now in regards to the Las Vegas Raiders, and I only say that because actions speak louder than words. But sometimes when your words are showing me an action that you don't really know what's going on with the situation, I think you have to look at it. And I bring this up because when the Raiders did finally extend Kolton Miller, Ian Rapoport sent this message out to break the news. The Raiders have announced a deal for standout offensive tackle Kolton Miller, ending a months-long saga and properly compensating him. That sentence right there tells me Ian Rapoport has not been following the Las Vegas Raiders for months because there is no saga. There was no saga. Kolton Miller was showing up to non-mandatory things. So even though I'm going to sit up here today and I'm going to say that Ian Rapoport reported that the Raiders are working on a contract extension with Jakobi Meyers, that's something that's worth talking about, which is why we're discussing it. But it's also my job here, and it's also, I'm just going to say, it's my job to let Nation know when I hear something or when I'm thinking about something, and based off that sentence alone, I don't know how well tapped in Ian Rapoport is right now with the silver and black. But the reason why I wanted to be able to sit up here today and why I wanted to be able to defend Jakobi Meyers, because I have been saying for a long time that this is a guy that you got to go out and you got to pay. Kolton Miller the other day at his press conference said that he thought it was smart, obviously, that the Raiders extended him, but it's also the fact that you show players on the team that you're going to do right by your own guys. You gave Max Crosby an extension, did right by your own guy. Geno Smith, that's Pete Carroll's guy, did right by him. We've seen this entire offseason how much that this organization, how much this regime values relationships. And I think that that is something that's very, very important. And for a player like Jakobi Meyers, for a player like Kolton Miller, they are doing everything that you're asking for. Going out there and compete, wanting to be a Raider, being a good presence in the locker room and outside of the locker room, on the field and off the field. They're doing all of those things already. So to me, I've wanted the Raiders to get this Jakobi Meyers deal done. I don't know if it's going to happen today. I don't know if it's going to happen over the weekend, but here's what I do know. I want it to happen. And if you want the silver and black to extend this guy right here, I want you to click that like button because, quite frankly, if you bleed silver and black and you don't want the Raiders to extend Jakobi Meyers, I'm not going to sit up here and say that you don't know ball, but I am definitely going to question your ball knowledge because look at these numbers over the past 4 seasons, and it's not like he's had outstanding quarterback play, right? I mean, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Desmond Ridder, Brian Hoyer, Jimmy Garoppolo. Should I go on? These are not solid QBs, and the numbers that he's still been able to put up over the past few seasons are very respectable numbers. On top of that, you think of the fit with Chip Kelly, the fit with Geno Smith. Jakobi Meyers is a phenomenal receiver to pair with somebody along the lines of Geno Smith, how accurate he is, because when you throw it to Jakobi, guess what? He's going to catch the football. So what do y'all think here? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, and it's simple. Type E for extend or type W for wait. Will the Raiders end up extending Jakobi Meyers? My answer is going to be coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. it would be dumb for me to say that they're not going to extend him. All offseason, I've been wanting the Raiders to get the deal done, and the fact that they got the deal done with Kolton Miller does give me hope, and the fact that Ian Rapoport is talking about it the way that he's talking about it also gives me hope. The Raiders love Jakobi Meyers, and I think that you're going to see the value that he has. Now, I will say this. I've thrown out some different Meyers extension projections on this channel before, but this is the one that I'm going to go with, and I'm basing it off of what the Raiders just did with Kolton Miller. So if you told me right now, breaking news, the Las Vegas Raiders, they just went out and they extended Jakobi Meyers, this is what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a 3-year extension worth $54 million. So that puts him at $18 million per year. $38 million of that is going to be guaranteed, and it's based off the percentages that the Raiders just guaranteed with somebody along the lines of Kolton Miller, which then would put his new deal, when you add the other money that he had already on his contract, 4 years, $68.9 million. Again, 38 of that is guaranteed, but it comes out to about $17.2 million per year, which right now would make him the 25th highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League, and I kind of think that that's a fair value for Jakobi. I don't know if he's a true number one, but I do think that what he does and what he offers this team, the 25th best wide receiver, is an absolutely positively fair number. And if you get the deal done now, then he's going to be probably the 30th by the end of the year, 35th, 40th. It goes on and on. Reward Jakobi Meyers now because you already traded for Geno Smith. Let's make it happen. And I'll also give you this promise. I'm a man that likes to make a promise from time to time. If the Raiders end up extending Jakobi Meyers, I'm going to make a video about it. I don't care if it's tomorrow. I don't care if it's on a Sunday. If breaking news happens, even on my off days, I'm going to get you guys a video. Why? I have commitment to excellence, and I know y'all do too. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. All right, let's get to the next part here of the video. And man, oh man, today was a crazy day in the NFL. Michael Parsons literally just asked to be traded. Darren McLaurin has asked to be traded. And I'll kind of talk about this a little bit later on when I go live, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific on the Raiders Report. It's Raiders Friday happy hour, so pull up. Let's have a little bit of fun. But before we get in to the Raiders training camp practice news and notes, I do want to just say this. There were no pads today. And I reached out to somebody at practice, and I said, what was the vibe overall practice, just like I do every day. And he did tell me that he thought it was a little bit more laid back today than previous practices with Pete Carroll, and maybe they're trying to give some of these guys a little bit of rest. Maybe that's just what they had planned all along. Maybe they were also ready to get their weekend started because it's a Friday. But bottom line is this. From what I heard today, practice was just a little bit more laid back. So maybe some of the stories, instead of saying, wow, that's really important, we just lowered down our expectations just a little bit. So the way that I want to do this is I'm going to start with the good news from practice today, at least the good news from me, and then I'll go to the bad news here in a little bit. The first good news is Tyree Wilson back at practice. One of the top things that I was looking for. He ended up missing yesterday, did a lot of one-on-one work today with Max Crosby on the side, which you like to see, but having Tyree out there is a very good sign. This made me smile, man. It really, really did. Rod Marinelli, the Raiders' former defensive line coach, and somebody that Max Crosby personally has said has been a big mentor for him in the NFL, because right when Max started getting it going, Rod Marinelli was a part of that defensive line, and that was very early on in his career, but he was at practice today. And I know for a fact that meant a lot to Max, and I know for a fact that meant a lot to those players on the defensive line. But the reason also why I love this is because when you're trying to get competition and you lose out on a player like Christian Wilkins, having more and more eyes on your team is never a bad thing. And when you have somebody that has the respect from Max Crosby and a lot of other players in that locker room that has the respect around the National Football League, let's get Rod Marinelli's eyes on some more of these defensive linemen to figure out who could be that Christian Wilkins replacement. So I love that, the fact that they did that today. Tom Brady pulled up to practice today, and, let's face it, there's not a single person on this planet that loves the NFL. Hell, I don't think there's a single person on the planet that doesn't know who Tom Brady is that wouldn't love the opportunity to meet him. And you know for damn well, every single one of those players, all 91 guys, Tom Brady, the minority owner, the greatest quarterback, the greatest football player to ever step on the planet, is watching me. You're going to go out there and you're going to try to give 110%, even if it's not in pads. Raheem Mostert, back at practice today again. They gave him an excused absence for the birth of his child, but I just wanted to be able to update y'all that Mostert is back. I saw some people asking about why he hasn't been at practice. Another solid day for Devin White. This is somebody that continues to stack solid practices over and over and over again, and I understand that training camp is all about the hype season, but I am somebody that also, when I talk to certain people, they're always transparent with me. They know how I like to give information. If a player's playing well, I'm going to tell you he's playing well. If a player isn't playing well, I'm going to tell that player he ain't playing well, but I'm also going to tell all of y'all. And I've been hearing solid day after solid day from Devin White. Michael Mayer, another great day for him. He had a good touchdown, and Chip Kelly continues to show how much he values this tight end room, and a lot of attention has been on the receivers. Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton Jr., Geno Smith, obviously. But Michael Mayer, man, I'm telling you right now, this guy's having a sneaky training camp, and I think he's going to have a sneaky good season. Let's go to Geno Smith, another really sharp day for him. Back-to-back great practices for the Raiders quarterback. You can really tell he's already starting, I think, pick up this offense. And early on in training camp, we're at practice number 8 now. Early on, there were some, ups and downs. The transition that Geno has made from the first day of practice to the way he's looked the past 2 days, the offense is really starting to click, and Geno's definitely starting to get it. Another thing here, I know we started the show with Jakobi Meyers, and I'm going to go back to it. I think the other reason why you absolutely positively have to get this deal done for Jakobi is because, again, you're also getting this deal done for Jakobi because you invested in Geno Smith. If you invested in Geno Smith, you need to invest around him. You already did in Kolton Miller. Well, now let's go get his number one receiver. Go ahead and pay him, because I'm telling you right now, there is clear chemistry between Geno Smith and Jakobi Meyers. And I didn't know if Jakobi was going to put up 80 catches again this season. If he's healthy all 17 games, and Geno Smith is healthy all 17 games, I'll guarantee it, he's catching 80 balls this season. Coming up next here on the show, we'll get into some of we'll call it the bad news from practice today. And if you follow me on social media, you might already know where I'm going to be leaning with this. But before I get into the bad news, let's talk about some good news. Justin Jeanty, the jerseys, they continuously are on sale. Sizes from small all the way up to 5XL. You can save $26 right now by going to chatsports.com/Jeanty. I'll say it just like this. If you think Ashton Jeanty is going to be a hell of a football player, and if you want a brand new Raiders jersey, you might as well get one now, because then you can wear it to a game. You can use that $26, get some food, maybe get a beer or two, get some drinks, whatever you need. Take advantage of the deal, because I do not know how long this sale is going to last. Quite frankly, I'm surprised it's lasted this long. Chatsports.com/Jeanty if you want to rock our brand new running backs jersey. All right, let's get into the bad news now around Raiders practice today. And I only have 3 notes here. And again, I'm trying to talk myself down, because I will say this. When I first put this show together, in the last 30 minutes, I did just get a text message. So that's why I'm trying to calm myself down with some of the bad news. The first thing that I'm going to come up with today is this. No practice from Brock Bowers. I don't think that anything is going on with him. He was at practice today. He had his baseball cap on, just not a helmet. And I do wonder if the Raiders, because again, I was told it was more of a laid-back day today, if they said, you know what, Brock, hey, you want a day off? You don't know exactly what's going on with some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I think if Brock Bowers felt like he needed an off day, or if the Raiders felt like they wanted to give him an off day, I'm okay with it. It's Brock Bowers. The other thing that's bad news today, and again, I'm trying to not talk myself off of a ledge based on a text message that I received again about 30 minutes ago. The Raiders starting offensive line today was as followed. And as soon as you see it, you're going to know why I'm putting this up here as bad news. So today, this is what the Raiders starting offensive line looked like. Kolton Miller, Dylan Parham, Jordan Meredith, Alex Kappa, DJ Glaze. Obviously, there is nobody up screen right there. There is no Jackson Powers Johnson. The reason why I'm trying to calm myself down a little bit is because essentially, if I could shorten up what I was told, it's the Raiders right now are trying to experiment with Alex Kappa, Jordan Meredith, and Dylan Parham, because they want to see what that trio looks like. The Raiders already know what they have in Jackson Powers Johnson, and it does actually really sound like JPJ is going to be a guard for the Silver and Black this upcoming season, but he was working with the twos today. He was working at right guard yet again, but I don't think that this is a punishment thing for Jackson Powers Johnson. I think it's more the Raiders know what they have in him, and instead of knowing what they have in a guy, and they're trying to figure out what they have at that guard position. They're trying to figure out, does Parham and Kappa look good with Jordan Meredith on the interior? Because I think the other question mark there is, if JPJ is the starting center, who's somebody that they could put on the other side of Meredith? So I'm trying to talk myself down, but if it's week 1 and JPJ ain't starting, I'm telling you this right now, I'm going to just go absolutely nuts. I just can't imagine that this organization that has shown you so many times this offseason how smart they are and that they do the right thing wouldn't start JPJ. I am hoping, based off the text message that I received, it's the Raiders just trying to test out more the trio of Kappa, Meredith, and Parham instead of punishing Jackson Powers-Johnson. For those of you that do not know, the Raiders are up against the Seattle Seahawks. Essentially, in my mind, it's like preseason week 1, man. We are so close to being able to cover this game. And for those of you that do not know, Jeremy Jugs and I, we will be live August 7th. I know it's a late game. 10 p.m. Eastern time is when the game starts. We're going to go live an hour, maybe 2 hours before kickoff. I'll tell you a little bit more about that next week. I'm going to be making some deals, but the bottom line is this. Yesterday, we went live on our main YouTube channel here at Chat Sports. We had over 68,000 people pull up, and a lot of y'all were from Raider Nation. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate the hell out of it. But you know what? I want y'all to pull up exactly the same way this Thursday. Raiders, Seahawks, set a reminder right now. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on, because I'm telling you this, when the Raiders play the Seahawks, we're going to blow the roof off this joint, and I want the entire world to see.